Hello, my name is Bianca Lewis-June, and I'll be presenting this PowerPoint project about exploring behavioral psychology of addiction. This project is by Alexandria Kress, Holly Roberts, and Bianca Lewis-June. Behavioral addiction is a form of addiction that involves a compulsion to engage in a rewarding, non-substance related behavior, sometimes called a natural reward, despite any negative consequences to the person's physical, mental, social, or financial well-being. Behavioral addiction versus substance addiction. Behavioral science experts believe that all entities capable of stimulating a person can be addictive, and whenever a habit changes into an obligation, it can be considered as an addiction. Behavioral addictions, such as internet addiction, is similar to drug addiction, except that in the former, the individual is not addicted to a substance, but the behavior or the feeling brought about by the relevant action. Addiction is a treatable chronic medical disease involving complex interactions among brain circuits, genetics, the environment, and an individual's life experiences. Drug abuse and addiction. This slide shows a list of drugs people can develop an addiction to, such as alcohol, marijuana, PCP, LSD, inhalants, painkillers, sedatives, cocaine, and tobacco. Drugs have been used, misused, and abused throughout the course of human history. Addiction is a chronic relapsing condition characterized by compulsive drug-seeking behavior and consumption, loss of control and limiting consumption, and drug dependence typified by withdrawal symptoms when access to the drug is denied. An overview of the background and our current understanding of the mechanisms that underpin substance abuse and addiction is provided in this chapter. The findings from neurobiological studies suggest that the initial response to addictive substances activate both liking and wanting hotspots in the nucleus accumbens and the ventral striatum, provoking both the pleasurable effects and the desire to continue taking such agents. People who are dependent on alcohol will display withdrawal symptoms on abrupt exceptions of drinking or significant nausea, tumor, tachycardia, insomnia, anxiety, and nightmares and hallucinations. This slide shows the types of behavior addictions. What is a substance use disorder? It is a complex condition in which there is uncontrolled use of a substance despite harmful consequences. People with a substance use disorder may have disordered thinking and behaviors. Changes in the brain structure and functions are what cause people to have intense cravings. Changes in personality, abnormal movements, and other behaviors. Brain imaging studies have shown that in the areas of the brain that relate to judgment, decision-making, learning, memory, and behavioral control, repeated substance can cause changes in how the brain functions. Changes can last long after the immediate effects of the substance wears off. Intoxication is the intense pleasure, euphoria, calm, increased perception and sense, and other feelings that are caused by the substance. A person who has substance abuse disorder usually build up a tolerance to the substance and they need larger amounts to feel the effects. People begin taking drugs for a variety of reasons. For pleasure, relief of stress, improving performance, and experimenting. Gambling addiction In addition to substances, people can also develop addiction to behaviors such as gambling. Opioid use disorder is a chronic lifelong disorder with serious potential consequences including disability, relapse, and death. There are more addictions and disorders such as internet gaming disorder, caffeine addiction, food addiction, sexual addiction, exercise addiction, and shopping addiction. When a person is married to, in a relationship with, friends with, or a relative of an addict, it is all consuming. You think you can save the person with addiction. What a person does not understand is that an addict cannot be saved by anyone but themselves. They have to want it. The person has to have overcome the chemical, emotional, clinical, mechanical need for themselves. They have to want it. Friends and family can support them through the ordeal.